USC, number 14 in the country, stomping Rice, or as we like to say, cooking Rice, 66-14. Lincoln Riley's debut was a smashing success. The offense looked a lot better with the amazing talent we brought, and so did the defense. Guys, tell me, a lot of things to work on, but what are your first thoughts of the day?
Well, it was night and day from a Helton game. Usually you're looking to squeak these out against Western Michigan, but Lincoln Riley had the team ready. They were firing on all cylinders on offense, feeling their way through their defense early on. But overall, they look prepared, which is, again, as a USC fan, something that I'm looking forward to for the rest of the season.
I thought it was a good first performance. The offense was as advertised. I was pleased with the offensive line play. I think there was 0 tackle for losses in the first half. Caleb Williams on a few plays just had all the time in the world. He was spreading the ball around. I believe he was Williams was 21-24 for 254 yards. He hit 8 different receivers. Jordan Addison was Jordan Addison, 2 TDs. I think one of the great things that I love seeing was Travis Dye with a pancake block, protecting his quarterback, allowing Caleb Williams to get another completion. I think the defense was a little unsettled versus one. I think that's going to be corrected. I think we saw a halftime adjustment. This coaching staff, we got after it with 3 pick sixes and a 4th interception by Examian Gordon. Difficulty with his name, but 4 INTs, 4 turnovers. I think the penalties, I think we had 5 or 6 penalties. So that was the big difference with a Helton regime. There was discipline, there was energy, and there's corrections to be made, but it was a good performance.
Well, and I think we saw from Lincoln Riley's protest and overall demeanor, I think he was certainly not looking forward to dealing with the Pac-12 refs, and it showed a little bit. They were as bad as ever, but certainly a great game overall for SC. Those 3 pick sixes, I think they said were the tied for second most of any team in something like 30 years. So just spectacular for USC. Certainly, if we hadn't had the questionable ejection for targeting, I think we would have had at least another 7 points, and they certainly would have had 7 less. But overall, just everything I think we hoped for. So, guys, we're excited to have you guys here on the call-in show. What's going to make it successful is if you help join us. So I know the game just ended and folks are just kind of joining in. But, John, Kyle, whoever is out there, we see a couple of you guys in the chat. Feel free to call in. We are right now simulcasting on both the Voice of College Football main channel and on the USC channel. So if you want to help like and subscribe, that makes a big difference for Mark Rogers, our official Voice of College Football, as well as the whole Voice of College Football team. Guys, what do we think overall? This was Rice, not a major, powerful team, very certainly, but I think a pretty good opener. How do you think this bodes for our future games coming up as we launch the Pac-12 schedule next week?
Well, when you're looking at it, I caught at the very end of the telecast, they said that this is the largest victory, biggest win, opening win since 1929. And since 1929, we've had some really great coaches, and we've played some really bad teams open up. So it is just Rice. I really wish I felt a little better about the defensive line, but I guess this offense was exactly as advertised. And I'm trying to hold back because it is Rice, but just looking at that wealth of receivers out there and the way when the play opens up or breaks down the pocket, the way Caleb Williams just gets those yards with his feet, it's just something that us Trojan fans have been begging for years.
It was pretty, wasn't it? LBC, what do you think as we get ready for Stanford next week?
I think there's some corrections to be made. Again, Rice has a little bit of the Stanford DNA with Mike Bloomgren as the coach. And so you can see that with the way they play football and they ran the ball. We gave up too many long runs in the first couple of quarters, but adjustments were made. That wasn't happening with Helton. So that was good to see. I think we got aggressive in the stuff with defense, hence the 4 picks and 3 of them to the house. That was a positive. Caleb Williams is just as good as advertised. So is Jordan Addison. All the transfers that we had an offense that was positive, but we are, and I think Lincoln Riley will mention it, that we have things that we have to correct. So will Grinch, because you go up against a Stanford or Oregon State on the road, it's going to be different, right? And so that our run defense has to shore up. But it was good to see the pressure in the second half. We sacked their quarterback several times, made hurries, which contributed to the INTs and pick sixes. So the one thing I like too is we didn't have, like 10 or 11 penalties that we would see with opening games with Helton. Every player had the correct jersey on. So it's the little things,
those days are gone. There's a new regime in town.
Yes. What are your thoughts, Tony?
Well, one thing I was a little concerned about the weather. It's hot as heck and terrible weather right now today in the Coliseum. So bad, in fact, that Mike Bone, USC athletic director, actually ordered the Spirit of Troy, the USC band, not to wear their uniforms. So the USC band was in shorts and t-shirts and baseball caps, which was actually kind of funny because the Rice Marching Owl band, they call them the Mob, did a whole routine to actually make fun of the USC band. But they did so kind of funny, making fun of USC's band's uniforms, which they weren't actually wearing. So there was a little bit of laugh of that in the pregame.